Welcome to the Lost in History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. In 1940, images of people at Auschwitz were recorded, a place that is part of history during World War II. These photographs help remember the events and experiences of that period. In the early 20th century, Dr. Harvey Cushing recorded portraits of patients who underwent brain surgery. These images documented important moments in medical history and helped show advances in surgical techniques of the time. In 1967, the spacesuits used by Gus Grissom, Roger Chaffee, and Ed White were damaged during an incident. These astronauts took part in important space missions and are remembered in the history of space exploration. In May 1945, United States Army soldiers found wedding rings near the Buchenwald concentration camp in Germany. This finding is part of the historical record of the end of World War II. In 1975, people struggled to secure a spot on the last helicopter leaving Saigon. This moment marked the end of an important period in the region's history and was recorded as part of that era's events. In 1889, the remains of a house were photographed in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, United States. This image shows the effects of an important event that marked the city's history that year. In the 1940s in Santa Monica, Los Angeles, an 11-year-old boy was documented by police in an official photograph. This moment reflects some of the social hardships faced by youth at that time. On October 9, 1966, white women protested in front of a church in Fort Worth, Texas, against desegregation. This event is part of the history of social movements and change in American society during the 1960s. In 1989, the Berlin Wall in Germany was dismantled. This event symbolized the end of the division between the east and west sides of the city and marked a new phase in European history. The fall of the wall represented major political and social change. In 1957, Dorothy Counts became the first black girl to attend an all-white school in the United States at Harry Harding High School in Charlotte. This image reflects an important moment in the fight for equality in education and for civil rights at the time. In 1956 in Johannesburg, South Africa, a nanny cared for a child while they sat on a bench reserved for Europeans. This image reflects part of the social and political conditions of the region at the time. In February 1940, a boy enjoyed an ice cream while sitting on a beached naval mine on Deal Beach in Kent, England. This image shows a simple childhood moment during a difficult period in history. In 1930, Italian traveler Attilio Gatti was in the Belgian Congo with 2 hired pygmies and a captured gorilla. This image shows moments from explorations and expeditions in Africa during that period. Around 1903, an elderly Bengali woman carried a British man on her back in West Bengal, India. The image shows an unusual scene and highlights aspects of cultural interactions of that era. In May 1945, British forces placed a sign at the entrance to the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp. This moment marked the liberation of the site at the end of World War II and is part of the historical record of that period. In May 1945, the Reichstag building in Germany lay in ruins after the events that marked the end of World War II in Berlin. This aerial image shows the damage to the building during that period of great change. In the early 20th century, steamboats traveled along the Mississippi River in the United States. These vessels were important for transporting people and goods along the river. They contributed to the region's economic and social development. In 1961, construction of the Berlin Wall began in Germany. This barrier split the city of Berlin into two parts, reflecting the political and social tensions of the Cold War. The wall had a major impact on people's lives for many years. In 1967, a United States Marine in Vietnam expressed his opinion of the Commander-in-Chief, Lyndon Baines Johnson. This moment reflects aspects of military experience and soldiers' views during the conflict. In 1944, in New York, Christmas parcels for soldiers reported missing or dead waited to be stamped, returned to sender. This moment is part of the World War II record and the hardships families faced. Around 1917, a German soldier was photographed reacting during fighting on the Western Front of World War I. The image shows the intensity of the challenges faced by soldiers at that time. In the 1940s, children were photographed in areas considered slums on Cumberland Street in Dublin, Ireland. The image shows aspects of daily life and living conditions for some people in the city at that time. Poon Lim, a Chinese sailor, drifted alone in a lifeboat for 133 days. He was rescued in 1943 near the coast of Brazil. This story is an example of endurance and survival under extreme conditions during that period. Photographs taken in 1910 showed children working long hours in dangerous conditions. These images helped advance laws to protect children from exploitation. This was an important step toward improving the rights of young workers. In 1951, a gantry structure was hoisted 160 feet above the water during construction of the Delaware Memorial Bridge in the United States. This work was part of efforts to create an important link between regions. In 1934, acrobats balanced on top of the Empire State Building in New York, United States. This feat showed courage and skill, and highlighted the building's grandeur, which was one of the tallest in the world then. A woman is carrying trash, a common task in both urban and rural areas. Collecting and transporting waste is important for community cleanliness and public health. Often this work is done by hand and requires physical effort. Crowds in Boston gathered to watch Harry Houdini perform a daring feat, jumping from a bridge while bound in chains. This kind of act showed the performer's skill and courage, and he was famous for his tricks and escapes. In 1930, a finalist in the Perfect Backs contest underwent a chest X-ray for the judges' evaluation. This kind of contest showed the period's interest in health and body aesthetics. In 1945, a billboard urged Manhattan Project workers to keep their activities secret. This project was responsible for important scientific advances during that period. ENIAC was the first electronic computer built, developed in the early 1940s. It was an important milestone in the history of technology, paving the way for modern computers. ENIAC took up a large amount of space and had limited capacity compared to today's machines. In 1926, a photograph captured early astronomical observations of the planet Mars. These images helped scientists study the red planet and better understand its environment. In 1974, a photograph captured the true colors of the newly discovered Terracotta Warriors. Those vibrant colors were preserved for a while before deteriorating quickly due to exposure to the environment. Around 1871, the Temple of Karnak was photographed by Frank Mason Good, 1839 to 1928. Located in Egypt, this temple is one of the largest ancient religious complexes and represents the rich history of Egyptian civilization. Albert Einstein's office was photographed on the day he died. The room shows objects and documents that were part of the scientist's life and work. This image helps recall Einstein's important contribution to science. In 1960, Ethiopian athlete Ababe Bikila ran the marathon barefoot during the Rome Olympics. This was a historic moment, showing his endurance and talent. Ababe Bikila became an inspiration to many in the sports world. In 1956, Fidel Castro and Che Guevara were jailed in a prison in Mexico City. This moment is part of the history of the political movements of that time. Both played important roles in the changes that later took place in their countries. The record of the first union between people of different racial backgrounds in Mississippi marked an important moment in the state's social history. This event reflects changes in the region's laws and culture over time. In 1930, Boeing Air Transport operated commercial flights in the United States. The company was one of the pioneers in air transport, helping develop civil aviation in the early 20th century. In 1978, behind the scenes of the film The Shining, directed by Stanley Kubrick, the production took place in a quiet, isolated hotel. The movie became a classic of suspense and horror, known for its unique atmosphere. During the filming of Breakfast at Tiffany's, Audrey Hepburn took a break to eat. This scene happened in the early 1960s and shows the actress resting during work on a film that became a classic. In 1896, at the first Olympic Games of the modern era, in Athens, Greece, the 100-meter dash took place. Athletes from many countries took part in this event, which marked the start of the modern Olympics and the spirit of unity through sport. In 1881, a man stood beside a huge wine storage vessel in Kankakee, Georgia. This region is known for traditional wine production. The container shows the importance of winemaking in the local culture at the time. In 1961, Goodyear introduced glow-in-the-dark tires, made of synthetic rubber and lit by lamps inside the wheel rim. This innovation brought more visibility and style to vehicles of the time. Gas stations shaped like flying saucers were popular in some regions. These futuristic designs drew attention and were part of the culture of the 1950s and 60s, reflecting interest in space exploration and innovation. In 1924, a rare image showed the inside of the original Harley-Davidson motorcycle factory. This photo reveals how motorcycles were made in one of the brand's earliest and most famous factories. Anna Haining Bates was one of the tallest women in history. She was photographed beside her husband, showing a couple notable for their unusual height. This image highlights physical traits that were uncommon at the time. In 1939, swing dancers performed at a club in Mississippi, United States. Swing was a popular style of dance and music then, known for its lively rhythm and energetic moves. These clubs were important places for entertainment and socializing. In the 1960s, children played in the streets of New York, United States. These moments of fun show everyday life and the urban scene of the time, with games and interaction among young people in local neighborhoods. In 1888, New York City was covered by a severe snowstorm. This event brought challenges for residents and affected daily life in the city that winter. The image shows streets and urban scenes under the snow. In 1913, Hans Schmidt, a Catholic priest who had emigrated from Germany, was arrested in the United States for a serious crime. He became the only person in that religious role to be executed in the country. The case drew international attentions at the time. In 1941, Maori soldiers of New Zealand's 28th Maori Battalion performed the traditional Haka war chant in Egypt. This ceremony is part of Maori culture and was used to show strength and unity before battles. In 1921, a World War I veteran who had lost his sight got married. This moment shows personal lives and stories after the conflict, with hope and the continuation of life. A Dumont engineer demonstrates an easy method of dialing using a fully automatic system. This technology made telephone calls easier, representing important advances in communication. In the 1950s, the lawn mower of the future was shown in operation. This equipment highlighted innovations in gardening, making lawn and yard care easier. The technology reflected interest in products that made household tasks more practical. In 1939 in Texas, a person skillfully scooped ice cream into a glass before making a malted milkshake. This kind of drink was popular and part of American diner culture at the time. In 1961, a person used a collapsible reflector in the Netherlands. This equipment improved lighting for photography and filming, making professionals' work easier. A device that measures body shape to track changes over time. This technology helps people monitor their health and physical progress and is used in fields such as medicine, fitness, and wellness. In 1956, during the Summer Olympics in Melbourne, Australia, swimmer Murray Rose signed autographs for fans. He was one of the standout athletes of the competition, representing his country with major achievements. During World War I, in Germany, electrically heated flight suits were developed. These suits helped pilots cope with low temperatures at high altitudes. In 1930, a hair-waving machine was used to create curls. These devices helped people care for their appearance and follow fashion trends of the time. Personal care technology was already showing important advances in the early 20th century. In 1944, the Colosseum in Italy was an important historical and tourist landmark. During that period, the structure faced difficult times because of World War II. The Colosseum is a symbol of antiquity and Roman culture. This image shows a beach in an earlier time, where people enjoyed the place in a very different way than we do today. Clothing, buildings, ways of having fun, and even the infrastructure were simpler and less developed. In the United States, some unusual homes were built inside massive tree trunks. These dwellings show how people used nature creatively to make unique places to live. This image shows a large family, illustrating a situation in which a determined father wanted an heir, and his wife agreed with that decision. The photo reflects family traditions and the importance given to lineage over different eras. In the early 1900s, the Blackfoot chief Two Guns White Calf was an important figure in his indigenous community in North America. He represented the leadership and traditions of the Blackfoot people during that period. In 1988, Barack Obama visited his step-grandmother, Sarah Ogwell Onyango Obama, in Kenya. This visit shows important family ties and personal moments in the future United States president's life. In 1941, the first hot dog from the Carl's Jr. chain was served. This snack marked the beginning of a tradition that grew and became popular in the United States. The company went on to offer a variety of fast foods to its customers. In September 1918, American patients recovering from war-related trauma enjoyed a happy moment swimming near the walls of an old castle. In 1918, miners were surprised to find a fossilized tree trunk embedded in coal. This discovery helped improve understanding of coal formation and the region's natural history. In 1920, women in Brittany, France, worked as lace makers, creating delicate and detailed fabrics. This activity was an important craft tradition in the region and part of local culture. In 1943, Dutch women wore traditional hairstyles that reflected local culture and customs. These styles were part of identity and fashion in the Netherlands at the time. In 1931, a miner in Wales received a bath after work. This practice was important for hygiene and the well-being of mining workers who faced difficult conditions day to day. In 1933, a boy walked outdoors with his owl. The image shows the special relationship between children and animals, highlighting a moment of connection with nature in that era. In 1917, sailors used life jackets to ensure safety at sea. These devices, sometimes called life mattresses, were essential during voyages and naval operations, especially in times of conflict. In 1935, a Jaguar SS2 Coupe and a 1931 Chevrolet Roadster were photographed in Utrecht, Netherlands. These cars represented the automotive design and engineering of the time, showing the style and technology of 1930s vehicles. The first photograph after the discovery, in 1912, shows an important moment related to that year's event. Images like this help record history and the discoveries made at the time. In 1942, children's gas masks were designed with help from Walt Disney to keep kids from feeling afraid during possible gas attacks. These masks had friendly designs to make use more comfortable and less frightening for children. In October 1975, in Williamson County, Illinois, a poster warned about the recent escape of a prisoner from the federal penitentiary at Marion. This notice showed the concern of authorities and the local community at the time. In 1921, the first contestants for the Miss America pageant appeared. The event brought together women competing for beauty titles and public representation. This competition marked the beginning of a tradition that continues today. In 1961, a group of children in Rhodesia, now called Zimbabwe, held a cricket bat. Cricket was a popular sport and part of local community recreation. This image shows a moment of leisure and fun among children of the time. In the 1980s, Andre the Giant was photographed while traveling on an airplane. He was known for his remarkable height and his career in sports and entertainment. This image shows a moment from the famous wrestler and actor's life while traveling. In 1959, a diving competition took place in Palm Beach, Florida. Athletes competed in events that required skill and precision when entering the water. These sports events were popular and brought together competitors and spectators in the area. In 1939, a driver stopped to ask directions from a highway patrolman in the state of New Mexico, United States. This moment shows travel routines and the assistance offered by authorities then. In 1950, young drivers, called Speed Demons of the Future, raced 1-horsepower vehicles at the Indianapolis Speedway. They reached speeds of 20 miles per hour. These races showed a passion for auto racing from an early age. In 1949, the laryngophone was a telephone that blocked noise and transmitted vibrations from the vocal cords when pressed against the throat or cheek. This technology helped communication in noisy environments. In 1902, Maori women from New Zealand were photographed. They belonged to an indigenous people with rich and important cultural traditions. The image shows aspects of these women's lives and dress at that time. In 1977, one of the last photographs of Charlie Chaplin was taken. He was an actor and filmmaker famous for silent films and his iconic character, the Tramp. This image shows a final moment in the life of a major figure in cinema. Between the 1840s and 1850s, one of the oldest people was photographed. These images are important for understanding the past and show how photography began to record moments of people's lives, even at advanced ages.